We're back. And before you go running out picking up all your albums, finish watching the show. The person we have with us right now is a young man, Jeffrey LaValley. Does that name make any sense to you? Not does it make any sense, does it ring a bell? Wrong choice of words, but you know what I was talking about. What about the song, "The Lord is my light and my salvation"? Every place I've been in the country, they've been singing it. It's become an anthem in half of the black churches around the country. You still, well, those of you who don't, you look for your record later on, you'll see this guy flying in the air on the cover. It's not my guest, but my guest is a part of that. He's with us today. Welcome, Jeffrey LaValley.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm just fine.
Good. Glad you could come out and be with us today. Tell us a little bit of something about this particular song. How did you get about doing that?
Well, I was living in Aliquippa, Pennsylvania at the time, and my wife's grandmother had written the song, and she introduced me to it. And our church had been singing it for maybe a year or so. And I moved back to Michigan, and our choir was scheduled to do a recording. So I called her and I asked her if we could do the song, and she said, as long as it's not for a rock and roll record, sure. And I said, well, it's not going to be for a rock record. We are going to do a gospel album. And it turned out to be one of the best things we've ever done.
Yeah, it has become a classic. Now, you're a professional recording musician. Your name appears on, tell us some of the people you've been playing for.
Oh, I started, I guess, with Myrna Summers and my own church choir, New Jerusalem, the Wisconsin Community Choir. I've done some work for the O'Neill Twins, for Bernard Johnson, and on and on.
Not just on and on. What about people that I've heard of? What about Keith Pringle? And
one of the title cuts from his album was a composition of mine, True Victory, around 1980 or so. And on his last album, I had a number entitled Save to Serve. I've also done some work recently with the New Jersey Mass Choir, the album I Want to Know What Love Is. Had an opportunity to share in that with another friend of mine from Bridgeport here, Jonathan Dubose.
No kidding. What about, you ever work with Tremaine, the Songbird of the world?
I am presently the keyboardist in the Tremaine Hawkins band, and here again, Jonathan and I work together in that aspect. I've been working for her now for 3 years, and I really enjoy it.
Oh, what's it like working with her?
It can be hectic sometimes, as it is in any occupation, but it's very, very rewarding, very exhilarating when the concerts come off good and people enjoy us for what we do and we work together well. It's beautiful.
So is this a part of the Hawkins family thing, or is this...
No, this is a separate entity altogether from the Hawkins family. Tremaine has been touring now on her own, I'd say, for about 2 years constantly, and then doing some things before, back and forth with the family.
What about Vanessa Bell Armstrong?
I've had the privilege to work with Vanessa.
I get her name.
Armstrong.
So it's Vanessa Bell
Armstrong, right. Vanessa and I have worked together on many occasions. We go back many years, and she's an extremely talented lady.
Because she's scheduled to be in the area sometime soon. I said maybe I get a chance to meet her. Okay, tell me, as far as writing, where does the inspiration come from? How do you get involved with actually writing things?
The inspiration comes from the Lord. It's not a thing that I sit down and say, well, today I'm going to write a song. There have been times I've been walking down the street, or I've been in the shower, or you know, oddest times, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 11 o'clock in the afternoon, and whenever it comes, I have to just sit and quiet myself and commune with God in that way. The message that He wants me to deliver comes forth without me being in the way there.
Okay, we look at writer, composer, arranger. What's the difference in composing something and arranging something?
There are a lot of composers or writers, as we call them, that can write material, but they really don't know how to bring out the best in their material, so they find a person who serves as an arranger to bring out the finer aspects, the finer points musically, as far as the and organizing the keyboard arrangements and the various musical accompaniment that goes along with it, to bring out the best in the song.
Now you play. What are your instruments do you play?
I fool around with organ and piano and synthesizers
Uh-huh.
on a regular basis.
What's the big challenge between organ and synthesizer for you?
It's not really a challenge. I enjoy both of them.
Uh-huh.
I feel that there's a time and place to use the synthesizer along with the organ.
Uh-huh.
It gives you another accompaniment expansion, because there's some things that you would like to do with the organ that you really can't do. And likewise with the piano, but you can do quite a few different variations with the synthesizer.
Uh-huh.
As a matter of fact, a good friend of mine here is an expert at it, Hubert Powell, in this
Uh-huh.
area. We also work together with New Jersey Mass. So there's a lot of talented musicians right here in Bridgeport
Uh-huh.
and the Connecticut area that are really, really very good professional recording musicians.
Uh-huh. What's the difference between a recording musician and a regular musician?
Um, well, you have piano players, and then you have people that are musicians. There's a difference in doing your own thing and just playing, and using the discipline that you've acquired in your years of playing to kind of put these things on wax. It's not a thing of, well, I'm just putting my ideas, but there are other guys that are playing with me, and we have to somehow get these things together and bridge that gap to make one even piece. Okay, so the arranger basically takes care of that, and then we follow what he gives us.
Uh-huh. So it's not a lot of quote unquote playing in the spirit. It's like I hear a lot of musicians just they play and play and play and you know.
It's organized, and you can play in the spirit and still be organized.
Uh-huh.
As a matter of fact, there's no better way to show, that we are working together as one than to have things on an organized basis.
Uh-huh. What about time when you're doing a project or just in music and performance and things? What kind of...
Okay, I've been taught from childhood that time was money, money was time, and both of them were tight.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so being punctual is a key in any aspect of life, regardless as to what you're doing, especially if you're dealing with studio time. If that time is to start rolling at 7 o'clock, whether you're there or not, it's going to start playing, and there's always somebody else that can be used. So again, attitude and time are important.
So what kind of advice do you give to young players who are going to watch this show and be angry with me because they didn't get down here to the taping to meet you?
The advice that I would give is them, first of all, is to develop and study their craft, to totally become involved, and even if you read or if you go by ear, to immerse yourself in that craft. And then if you're dealing in gospel music, as I do, you dedicate that craft and all the service that you give totally to the Lord, where He gets the glory out of everything, because it's He that has given us the talent that we have. And the more you develop, the more you like to do. So those are the basic things that I would suggest.
So we're looking at the discipline, the time. I have to I pick on time because every place that I seem to go lately, there's not a recognition of the fact of 7 o'clock. And I'm always picked on because they say, well, you understand, and I wanted to get, that's why I asked you that, because in a professional setting, I was always of the mind that your time is...
It's very, very important. In my even working with churches, in my particular home church, if they say service is to start at 10:30, I'm to be there on my post of duty. It's important, and in those things, and you can look at it, if you don't want to look at it from the aspect of being on time, a lot of us don't like to miss anything.
Right.
And if you're late, you're always going to miss something.
That's true. So what kind of future projects? We've got a couple of minutes left. What can we look for Jeffrey LaValley?
Well, I really want to branch out into producing other artists. I've been blessed to have worked with some of the greatest producers in gospel and in other areas, and I want to share that I have with others. So this is what I plan to do. I want to become a producer of gospel music, because gospel is my life. It's how I sustain myself, and it keeps me going, and I want to help.
So you're able to make a living at being a gospel musician.
I make a living at being a gospel musician.
So people can make money playing and doing gospel music.
You definitely can. And the dependency is not therefore in yourself, it's really in the Lord, and the Lord makes the way. He's made a promise that if you take care of His business, He would take care of you, and that's how I look at it.
So in looking... Wait a minute, I forgot my thought, because I was getting ready to ask you something in reference to the scope of it. because we've looked at future projects. Time always going to ask you, what is a producer? When we look at music, and you say, people say just a producer. What, since that's a goal, what does a producer do?
A producer is a person that brings an artist to the people as far as the recording industry is concerned, brings out the best in the person, hooks up the entire realm of the recording for that person, and that's what I want to do.
So is he kind of the simultaneous works with the arranger, or is he a different thing?
He
or
can work with the
one?
arranger, or it can be one and the same, or he can be it can be two different entities, but they do work together. And bring the best forth for the artist involved.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to share with us before we close today?
I'm happy for the privilege to share with the people of Connecticut my thoughts in dealing with this lifestyle that I have. And I love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
Great. Well, we've been privileged once again, folks, to have some extraordinary people visiting with us today. Reverend Charles Nix, who's told you all about the Gospel Music Workshop of America. You can always get more information, because if you look in the newsletter, of course, it's something's usually in there about the Connecticut Mass Choir and what they're doing, but it keeps you in focus with what's going on with the music. We have such a rich heritage that we're losing now because we don't find out more about it, and that's our emphasis here on the Black and Happy Show, just to let you know that you have opportunities in so many avenues that you never even thought about. But I want to thank Jeffrey LaValley for being with us today. Go dig up those records and listen to him play I Still Love the Lord Is My Life. He's probably done a million things, and I'm still talking about the same song. But I thank you once again for watching. And remember, a smile makes everybody happy.